So just a couple of sentences from the joint paper from AAIDD, the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, and ARC, says that as people with IDD age, they should have every opportunity that's provided to other community members who are aging, which means that we need, as a system, to also be collaborating with the aging system. They say that people who are aging with IDD should have the same rights, dignity, respect, and opportunities as other older people, that people and their families should be empowered to advocate for themselves. They should be free from discrimination. So think about the discrimination for people with IDD, but then also the discrimination for people who are aging. I don't know if any of you have felt that discrimination for aging, if you were ever told you are too old for a job, or why aren't you retiring? Why don't you make room for younger staff? But discrimination, so they're getting discrimination from two areas, not just having a disability, but also being aging. People have the right to access to affordable housing, healthcare services. Please remember, gerontology is a whole separate healthcare approach, and are the people that we're supporting who are over probably even 55, are they receiving healthcare from someone who not only has expertise in IDD, but also in gerontology? Because as many of you know who are supporting people who are aging, the difficulties and the impact of aging on the disability that they live with, whether it's a syndrome or whether it's undiagnosed, there could be significant issues. And people should receive supports they need to live, work, play, and retire when, where, and how they prefer. So are we even giving people the opportunity to retire? We also believe that people should be free from fear of inappropriate institutionalization, and they should have the supports when, where, and how they prefer, including supports for the family members who can assist them. So how are we supporting older caregivers? There are other resources related to aging. I'm sure you all know about the AAAs, the Area Agency on Aging. There are 12 area agencies in Ohio. I know in Northeast Ohio, where I live, it is the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. There's also a national resource. And if you are looking for information about older caregivers or how to support older caregivers, ARCH, National Respite Network, or Access to Respite Care, and excuse me, sorry about that. Sorry about that. But anyway, ARCH, the Access to Respite Care and Help, has a wonderful website. They do offer modules and trainings. We also in Ohio have the Ohio Department of Aging and the National Institute on Aging, which is part of the National Institutes of Health. So if we look at charting the life course, we always talk about 6 life domains. And we need to remember that people who are aging we still want to look at these 6 areas and not say that, oh, well, we no longer have to look at employment, because as I shared, I am in that aging life stage. And part of my quality of life is that I am able to continue working, that I am able to continue sharing my passion for supporting people and families. So I share with you this booklet. If we're looking at the aging lifestyle, We also need to look at the experiences and opportunities that people have had in adulthood. And then if we're working with adults, we need to have that anticipatory guidance of helping them think about what's coming next. So looking at the previous stage, which is adulthood, to see if we missed anything, and then looking at aging, if you're working with adults, to help them prepare. If you haven't seen the booklet before, each of the 6 domains has a 2-page spread, and there are considerations, questions, conversation starters from prenatal and infancy all the way up to aging. So if you're working with someone in the aging lifestyle, also look at adulthood and ask those considerations, ask about those experiences and opportunities, and also the aging lifestyle, life stage. I also shared with you the quick guide for aging, which is just 4 pages long. And on the first page, it defines what does aging mean. It's when we begin to slow down and experience many age-related changes. The second page covers 3 of the life domains and things to consider. So what do people want to do during the day? You know, maybe they don't want to go to day program every day. Maybe they want to go to the senior center in their area or neighborhood. Maybe they want to learn something. Maybe they want to. I have a friend who is also aging and just began painting just in the past couple of years, and her paintings are phenomenal. I have another friend who retired, and she is doing watercolor painting and has never done it before, and her paintings are amazing. I actually have paintings from both of them. Community living, where do they want to live? Have they made their home accessible so they can age in place? Safety and security, what does that mean for as we get older? How are we mitigating risks? Not removing them, but if any of you have supported anybody who's aging, you know, the first thing they tell you is remove all throw rugs. Don't have anything that people can slip on and fall, because falling is a major, major medical issue as you age. Social and spirituality, and I'll go through the domains, healthy living and advocacy and engagement. And then the 4th page just talks about what else do we need to think about? What services and supports do we need to look at? And what might the family need? So as we look at these 4-pagers, I hope that you will think about not only using them for yourself to facilitate your conversations, but also giving them to families who are supporting someone perhaps over the age of 55 or 50, but also caregivers who might be aging. So we know that 2 tools that help us think about what is that good life are the vision tool and the planning trajectory. As we go through the domains, we want to ask people to think about what do they want, what kind of life do they want, but also what they don't want. So under daily life and employment, remember, we want to start with looking at the stage before, which is adulthood. So is there anything that people want to learn? You know, it's interesting when I talk to people with lived experience and I ask them if they want to learn anything, they immediately say, I don't want to go to school. And we haven't been real good about sharing with people with lived experience with intellectual and developmental disabilities that we learn things throughout our life. We learn, you know, we may take up a hobby. We may want to learn. Actually, I was talking to a group last week. They were not aging. They were adults that received supports. And one of them said, I want to learn Italian. And I said, oh, why do you want to learn Italian? Do you have Italian relatives? And she said, no, I just think it would be cool. And I thought, how awesome is that? She wants to learn something that has nothing to do with learning a skill or being more in our language in the system, more independent, but just something for fun. Another person said, I want to learn sign language. And I said, whoa, why do you want to learn sign language? And she said, I just think it would be cool to learn how to talk with your hands. And I thought I'm so glad that people have interests, but also, what job do they want? Do they want to work? Do they want to cut back? As many of my friends have said, they laugh at me. What do you mean you're working? I thought you were retired. Well, but this gives me, this helps me feel good about myself. This is important to me to have something to do that I love and I think I do well. But also, what benefits and do they need income? Talking to people about if you want to do fun things, you have to have disposable income, and disposable income means you earn it. You have a job. But also thinking about what help do I need to get through my day, and how can technology help me? And then in aging, do people need to continue earning an income? I know I worked with people who all the way through their 90s, and they did not want to stop going to day program because that's where their friends were. That was their social life. And so we didn't. But there were other people who didn't want to go 5 days a week. And so we worked to see what can you do? How can we put supports together so that you don't have to get up every day and be on a bus at 7:30? I met someone over the weekend. She gets up every day at 6:30 to get on a van at 7:30 to go to day program. And she is almost my age. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I had to be up and dressed and on a van at 7:30 every morning, I might rethink my day. And then do people know, are we helping them learn about what happens when you age and the impact of the medication they're taking, their diagnosis, and what's happening to their body? That what's normal as you age and what might be different so that they can share with their caregivers and share with their healthcare providers. And then, of course, planning. And planning may look different now because we may be supporting people to plan for the end of their life. I know that as a speech pathologist, I often was asked to support people who were at the end of their life and make sure they understood their options. Did they understand their medical options? Did they understand what they could do, how they could spend the rest of their life? I even did this with my brother, Nick, when he knew he was at the end of his life. What do you want to do, Nick? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? What's important to you? Who are the people that are important to see or to stay connected with? What kind of help we need in our daily routines and activities so people can age in place. So if any of you are getting older, what have you done? I went from a 3-story house to a 2-story condo with a full bath on each level, just in case I can't go upstairs at some point. I will be able to stay downstairs. And then what's available in the community? Not only Meals on Wheels, but recently in the Cleveland area on the news, I have seen where several communities have volunteers who will go and help seniors. They will shovel their front walk. They will cut their grass. There's even groups that volunteer to provide transportation to people, or your neighborhood or city may even have door-to-door transportation for people with disabilities and who are aging, which would mean that we don't have to use perhaps waiver dollars or local dollars, if that is provided in the community to community members. And then asking people what makes a good day and a bad day. And, what makes a bad day? Maybe it is getting up every day. Maybe it is having to be busy or not be able to sit comfortably, or, think about for your own good day and bad day as you are getting older. What makes it good? What makes it bad? For community and adulthood, for community living. Are they living with parents, or are they moving out? What supports do they need? What living options are available? If they need to move out of the family home, maybe because the caregivers are getting older and they can't provide that support, where can they afford to live? Is there senior housing that's available? And how will they get around in the neighborhood? And what can they do to feel valued in their community? For aging, I don't know how many of you have worked with both. I know in my time as a SSA, I had 3 referrals in 1 month for a 60 or older gentleman. They were all men who were living with their 80 to 90-year-old mothers and had never been known to the board. And so all of a sudden, these 3 referrals came in 1 month. And my approach in supporting all 3 was, where do you want to live? And they all wanted to continue living with mom. And all 3 moms told me, this is my job. But when I learned more about the pairs, I learned that they were reciprocal. They were helping each other. It wasn't just mom taking care of her son, but one of the sons was driving the mother to the grocery store. He had a job, he had a car, and he was driving mom to all her medical appointments. So I did not want to upset that family unit because they were being very successful. However, the home was not, there were throw rugs all over the place. There were no grab bars in the bathrooms. So right away I was like, can we get somebody to come in? I know somebody who can come in and assess the house and, maybe help you with some things in the bathroom. So how do we support that family unit to live the way they want to live? And then, are there senior citizen resources in the community? I happen to live in Willoughby, and when I go to the Y, which is next to the senior center, I don't know how often, but I will see that they must have almost like a food bank, because I can see cars lined up and all sorts of volunteers and people directing traffic, and people are picking up boxes of food and supplies. So what's available in the community? The food banks, I know I had one gentleman who knew every food bank and knew where every free meal was in his community. He taught me the resources. So why support and empower? We need to remember that just because someone is a certain age, they don't just have to move, or they don't have to stop working, or there are no you have tos, but really find out what life that person wants. What do they value? And then have conversations about the domains and help them think about possibilities, like what is possible? What can we do? Can we use other supports, not just the DD supports, but the supports for aging, or what's available I'm thinking of the integrated support star. What's available in your community to all people who are aging? And then to understand the importance of experiences and opportunities, you know, helping people think about, well, maybe you want to learn something different, or maybe you want to take a class. It doesn't mean school, and it doesn't mean that you're going to have data taken about it. It's just, what do you want to learn for fun? Please, 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 we want to empower people to be part of the conversation. So share the quick guides with people. How about making sure the quick guides are available for everyone, putting them on your website, or if you have an internal website where staff can look for resources, put the quick guides on there across the 5 life stages, not just aging, but adult, transition to adult, school age, and early intervention, or early childhood. I'm sorry, early childhood. Early intervention is the service. Early childhood is the life stage. Have them available. Share them with people so they can be part of the conversation. They can think before you start talking to them about it. And have that conversation. Use the vision tool. Leave it with people. Tell them to think about what would make a good life for you. What is there? Where do you want to age as you're getting older? Where do you want to live? Do you want to move somewhere else? And then as we wrap up, just a reminder, we have our Ohio Showcase coming up on March 14th and 15th in Columbus. We have a community of practice meeting this Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Zoom. And I'm assuming there are no questions. As you leave, as you click on leave, you will, a pop-up will happen, and it'll say, thank you for attending. Please complete the feedback. We appreciate your feedback, and I thank you for joining me today. And hopefully I will see you next Monday when we cover some additional domains and talk about what do we need to help people identify and think about as they age or their caregivers age. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.